Hello and welcome to another Revenue Roundtable. I'm Mitch Lee, Profit Evangelist at Vendavo, and we're going to spend under 10 minutes discussing what's being reported in the business news, what's top of mind for the Vendavo customer community, and some tips, tricks, and things to think about to turn concerns into opportunities. With me today is Jared Smith. Now, Jared's a BC with Vendavo. He's been with Vendavo over 2 years. He's done lots of work in B2B, B2C, and right now, strangely enough, he's studying pricing and sales execution, working on his PhD at Oklahoma State. Jared, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, our first topic, what's up in the news and for business? And we've been seeing a lot of stuff in news about inflation. We've been hearing about commodity prices popping up, chip prices, lumber prices. Now the Fed's talking about tapering off on their interest rate plans. How does sales execution, what are things that come to mind with sales execution relative to that topic with inflation? What's going on there?
Well, first, I think we have to look at what's really driving inflation. And the first things are things like raw materials. We have freight. There's labor shortages. There's talent that people are just looking for right now. And then policy is driving it. One of the things that I'm seeing right now, especially in some industries like distribution, many companies had overseas suppliers and were at massive cost advantages, right? With the freight increases, companies that use domestic suppliers are now nearing parity. This is even if you can get inventory in some cases, which in turn affect prices. So in this case, things like freight, labor shortages, and raw materials are really driving things up. What is happening right now in response to this is that commercial teams, they're really scrambling to keep up. For many, it's causing them to fight established industry norms. And what I mean by industry norms is that in some cases, some industries, their customers only expect one or two price changes a year. However, cost increases that are going through, I think in some industries that I'm working with right now, we're only halfway through the year and there's already been like 7 or 8. So even when teams are able to react by revising price, there's a second component that must happen, and you have to execute it within the sales force. So right now, sales forces are fighting really a two-front war. One,
Mm.
cost pressures are mounting and eating into margins from the bottom side. But the second thing that's happening that I'm seeing is that market conditions are hyper competitive right now. Share of wallet battles are so ridiculously fierce, and this is causing downward pressure on being able to get price. This is one of the key reasons why sales execution becomes so important.
Absolutely. This reminds me a lot of my product lines in the past. When I was a Vendavo customer, we were working with all that movement, both top and bottom. We called it managing the margin, living in that space in between. And now people, pretty much everybody's understanding that pressure on both sides being dynamic. But what are we hearing on the street? What are things that our customers and our prospects are talking to us about right now?
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that. So one of the key things I see is a lot of scrambling, right? As they try to keep up. So distributors right now, those markets, those standards, that norms that really govern the industry. Again, we've gone from 1 to 2 price changes a year to 5, 6, or 7. So like distributors, they're struggling with their own identity. What is it like to live in this new world? Even other industries that are used to more frequent changes in price are having to find ways to solve this. For example, recent article that I think I read was by McKinsey and Company on the chem industry, how they recommend more focus on sales communication and other pricing methods like temporary surcharges to help through what's going on with this volatility.
Sure.
So, like they pointed out, the connection right now with sales is extremely vital, and that's what they're really focusing and leaning into, right? Organizations need to supply companies, first of all, with sales assets, collateral to have those critical value conversations. But at the same time, organizations ultimately be very diligent in the way they price and their guidelines for how they're going to market. Now, there's a lot of pressure right now to buy share. Odd, since it's really an inflationary environment, right? That's kind of crazy. But it's a huge risk since the market can drop when everybody is going down in price, and it will take a long time for them to recover. So to me, this is where methods for better sales execution really come into play. Companies right now are exploring how much latitude they can give salespeople to discount. In the academic world, we call this authority and specific vertical authorities. How much, from a management all the way down to that final salespeople, how much latitude do you give them? And really, there's 3 general levels of authority that has been researched over the years. You have full authority, which is where a salesperson can pretty much do anything they want to. You have limited authority, where you give them guidelines. And then you have no authority, which is you have to sell at this price. Of the three, and this is also my opinion, limited authority where you set the ranges and is considered the most ideal and profitable. And so the word on the street right now is that how can we get to this? That method gives flexibility because sales knows they need room to negotiate, but it also provides those key guidelines to maintain profit.
So, Jared, given all that, what are some recommendations?
So it's the first thing is that companies need to get better at how to set these ranges that are delivered to the sales force. So I'm a big fan of statistical solutions to help this.
And those solutions would work how?
Well, in my experience, I like to think of how you do this should be very systematic. So first of all, what you want to do is you want to invest in price management to help you manage list prices. This becomes more important the more scale you have. So the more SKUs, the more segments, you need more of that happening. Then work on setting target and floor using optimization tools and value analyses. The object there is to set prices that estimate a customer's willingness to pay. When set up correctly, developing capabilities in these two areas will open up lots of efficiencies to help you react in the market. The second thing you need is to deliver these ranges effectively to the sales force. So this honestly is a very big hurdle, one that digital solutions can really help with. Salespeople by nature just have short attention spans. They want to pull up the information and know the answer extremely quickly. And they want to know immediately if they're winning or losing, both from a price and even from their compensation point of view as well. So setting those guidelines protects your profitability, but also provides anchors for sales to have the value conversations to win the deal. That's why the first step is so important of actually setting the prices and the ranges. And then finally, and I believe this is more overarching, if you're a company and you're trying to get better, create a culture of pricing. Research shows that companies that are internally focused on how they come to market with price are more successful. Don't make it an afterthought. It is a discipline. Make it a continual central conversation in your company at multiple levels. Invest in people that can articulate and execute a vision and systems to level up your capabilities.
Jared, this is fantastic. I really appreciate hearing from you as somebody that's doing this research and checking what other researchers are pulling forward. So we're really talking about facts, really talking about things that are making a difference in the market today. Thanks for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me, Mitch. Look forward to talk to you soon.
You bet. And for all those watching or listening, thanks for being with us today. Be sure to contact us at profit@vendavo.com. Let us know if you have any topics you'd like for us to address on the next Revenue Roundtable. So until we speak again, have a profitable day.